Am I the asshole for now allowing my wife's friend into our new home after blatant disrespect? Early in 2020, like right before El virus, the contract to my former job expired and I ended up going a couple of months making money pretty much only via delivery services until I landed a job at Amazon. I coasted on that Amazon job for a while, but I actually had an abnormal amount of sickness throughout the year and my sick time and PTO was gone by December, combined with a few family deaths. So when toward Christmas time I fell so ill I was unable to work properly and was terminated, omitting details because gross. Following that, we were informed that our rental contract would not be renewed and we were to move out my January, less than a full day's time from being fired. If you're wondering how that worked with the whole eviction thing, we were on a month-to-month lease and we couldn't just squat. So between these two facts, of which my wife confided with her friend, I'll call her S, within a few days S goes into a long tirade to my wife about me. In short, she said I was an unfit husband who can't keep a job, said it was pathetic I got fired for being sick, said I would never be able to provide for my wife and our kids, and strongly suggested a divorce. My wife, being the MVP that she is, straight up said no and basically said S has no right to say any of this. A few days later, S apologized to my wife and they are back on speaking terms. However, I received no such apology. I was slandered and belittled in great detail by this woman directly to my wife. I don't have much of an established relationship with S. I've met her and her husband a few times. During the blow-up at my wife's former job, her husband even forbid me from visiting them, which I already didn't care about doing anyway. He eventually relented, although I still haven't really seen them except one time at a mutual restaurant meet-up. So I straight up told my wife that S isn't welcome in our new place. It took a while for us to find a new place and thankfully my in-laws were able to help us. We recently got our new home ready for visitors and my wife has repeatedly brought up me trying to forgive and forget. She pointed out that S apologized to her and that S is even offering to throw a baby shower, which has not yet happened, and our daughter will be born in less than 30 days. I have not and will not forbid my wife from being friends with her or hanging out with this person. But I said I'd draw the line in having someone who disrespected me in my house without at the very least a sincere apology. As far as I know, S has not yet even asked to see the place and she doesn't know I have banned her from coming over or the conditions for reconciliation. So is my wife right? Am I being in a hole? Quick edit. This isn't the first time S has badmouthed me. This was just one of the worst cases and in the worst times. Second edit. My wife didn't badmouth me when she told S what was going on. I personally, with her permission, read the texts. She simply told S what was going on and explained how much it sucked, to which S responded with what I mentioned above. And my wife didn't shove the convo on me. On one of the days that we were packing, she was growing more and more upset, including tears and signs of anger, which isn't normal for her. I asked what was going on, and after some time she just handed me the phone and let me read everything. Final edit. The reason S' husband banned me was due to a conflict between me and the owner of a salon that S and my wife used to work at. When the issue originally arose, I was perceived to be the jerk in the situation and S' husband thought I was too unstable to have around. Time passed, everyone realized the salon owner is the jerk and the ban was lifted. I pay for the house, not my in-laws. My in-laws let us stay with them while we fixed up our affairs. I realize now that wasn't super clear. Also, thank you everyone who came and answered this thread. Some of you gave me something to think on. Some of you make me question how things are going in your lives to give the advice you did, and many kinda confirmed how I felt. I apologize for some of the miscommunication, but with only 3,000 characters I'm pretty limited in the info I can give. Not the asshole. This woman suggested that your wife divorce you. That is definitely not the kind of energy you want in your home. Not the asshole. If someone said those kinds of things about me during a time I was struggling, that would be it. I would not want them in my life regardless of whether they sincerely apologized to me or not, let alone in my house. Not the asshole. I hate when people accept an apology on your behalf when you never receive one, and then expect you to act like it's all cool. That really only shows that they don't take into account your feelings about the matter, but only theirs. This is your house, too, not hers. If your wife is that okay with her friend being disrespectful to you that she doesn't even think your friend owes you an apology, it makes me wonder how much your wife really does respect you. Not the asshole, no lol. If you want to talk about someone like that, don't go round to their home. Also, I think your wife is a bit of an asshole here too. I wouldn't be having a pal who badmouthed my partner like that in my partner's home, making him uncomfortable. Has your wife told her you know about her comments? Because that's what she really needs to do. You would be under no obligation to make this friend feel welcome at all after how she spoke about you. Sorry you've had a stressful year, and I'm glad things are looking up. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of missing information here. Your wife's best friend has at one point banned you from her home. You say misunderstanding, but would you really tell the truth? She sees her best friend struggling because you can't hold down a job and are being thrown out of your house. She knows far better than we do what is really going on. Now, when she has not even asked to come around you, you want to ban her from your house. It may be that you have just had a string of bad luck. It is just as likely that you are a shit husband and this friend was giving the best advice she could at the time. NTA. Not the asshole. You've been through such a hard time, and to call a husband useless and pathetic because of illness? Come on. I don't really grasp why your wife told you in the first place, but you are absolutely right to ban such a snake from your home. TBH. I believe she still talks shit about you to your wife, just perhaps more sugary coated. Not the asshole. Your wife's friend is an ass, and if they feel comfortable disrespecting you via text, they'll 1000% disrespect you in your home. Am I the asshole for tricking my girlfriend into eating authentic Turkish food? My girlfriend and I are university students living in the US. She is from Turkey, and appropriately, she shares her home culture with me quite a bit. I had no real concept of what Turkey was like before I met her, but I have been eager to learn. We are currently cohabitating, and as of late we have been ordering in, getting takeout quite often. She wanted to introduce me to authentic Turkish food one time, and so we ordered from a nearby Turkish restaurant. When the food came, she changed from the typical friendly, nice person she usually is into an angry professional food critic. She was, figuratively, Gordon Ramsay, and the cooks at the restaurant had failed to properly sear the, figurative, scallops. She said it was absolutely dreadful and no Turkish chef would serve something like that. For the record, I found it quite tasty, but after some investigation we found that the restaurant served Turkish food, but it was not made by a real Turkish chef. I'm under the belief that with training and expertise anyone can learn how to make anything, but she strongly disagrees and asserts that if you want to make authentic Turkish food, you must have had grown up in Turkey to develop your palate. The problem now is that no matter which Turkish restaurant we order from, it is never enough. It's too salty. It's too sweet. The spices aren't those any Turkish chef would use. I have found the vast majority of the dishes we've ordered delicious, and she ate them up every time, but to be frank it's getting to the level where I think she's just gatekeeping Turkish food. I was tired of it. I looked into the most authentic Turkish restaurant in driving distance that I could find. I found one a couple of hours away in the city. The chef was from Turkey, and the reviews were dynamite. Many of them were from Turkish people who lived there or previous expats in Turkey. The food cost a pretty penny as well. I drove all the way there for takeout, and drove all the way back. When I got home, I said I got Turkish food, and she heated it up for us as it had gotten a bit cold. After heating it up and digging in, she immediately said that it was an abomination. I legitimately think she uses a Turkish-English dictionary to prepare phrases for creative ways to badmouth the food we get. At this point I had it, and told her that I got it from the most authentic Turkish place in the state. I showed her the restaurant's page, its reviews, and its reviews from Turkish people. She immediately got defensive and said I tricked her, that Turkish food needs to be hot off the grill to be good, and that I don't know anything about it. I tried to reason with her and say that I wanted to enjoy food together and not live with Joe from Hell's Kitchen, but now she's giving me the cold shoulder. I feel like I'm right, but I may still be an ass here. Please provide any input. I don't know if I owe her an apology or if I should stick to my guns. Edit. Thanks for the posts everyone. I have determined that I was not the asshole here, and here's why. When someone tries to enjoy a meal with you, and all you have to say are negative things, you're kinda being an asshole. I can't speak much for your life situations if you consider that normal behavior in any capacity, but there's no real excuse for calling what someone is eating an abomination, because it doesn't meet your impossible standards. Had you read my opening post better, the problem she had with the food wasn't the ingredients or anything like that, but that it was not made by an authentic Turkish chef. I served her food that was, and she still rejected it. Hearing all of your opinions, with plenty of yikes and other Twitter zingers to go around, just solidified my opinion on the matter. Not the asshole. Thanks for playing and have a nice night. Info. What exactly did you hope to accomplish here? As a fellow Middle Easterner, no one will ever make baklava or Easter bread like my grandmother's, no matter how interesting or good. That's because I am viewing it through the eyes of love and memory, not how it actually tastes. For us, food isn't just food. It's about connection and history and relationships. Maybe try to understand why she's reacting so strongly, rather than prove her wrong. Maybe she's homesick, or the different food really brings home how far away she is from her loved ones. Yikes. You are the asshole. So you drove half a day to try to prove that she was an asshole? Script flipped, my man. It's actually you. In her mind, authentic could really just equate to how her family cooked it, or how it was cooked in the area her family was from. Edited to add. After I posted, I couldn't stop thinking about how you were so desperate to prove her wrong. Embarrass her? Win an argument? About her own culture? That you literally drove 4 hours to do so. You are the asshole, enjoy that Turkish food alone. Info. So why do you keep getting Turkish food when she obviously will always find fault? Also, does she act this way about other food, being critical? Do you want to be right or do you want to be in a relationship? Because it sounds like you just want to be right here, and you can't have both. You are the asshole. This feels like that post about the boyfriend tricking his girlfriend to say food from Hooters was delicious to prove some ridiculous point by lying about where he got the food. You seem to think that because it was authentic, as far as you were concerned, she should like it. And that because she complained as much about it as all the other Turkish food she's had, that means she's lying? If she'd automatically changed her story and called it delicious, you might have an argument. But she didn't. If you don't like her complaining about Turkish food, stop ordering Turkish food with her. You are the asshole. You are the asshole and your point doesn't even hold up. The food went cold and had to be heated up. It probably didn't taste half as good as it could have been. Why you decided to be so petty when you would have just driven girlfriend to fancy Turkish place for a nice meal is beyond me. I looked into the most authentic Turkish restaurant in driving distance that I could find. I found one a couple of hours away in the city. Opening square bracket. Closing square bracket. I drove all the way there for takeout, and drove all the way back. Why? Why do you care so much what she thinks of Turkish food? Why trick her? Why try and convince her? Why not let her enjoy what she enjoys? You are the asshole. Grab a copy of Moby Dick or something. Am I the asshole for getting upset at my mother after she took care of my baby? Please read edits at the end before replying. My mum usually takes my baby off my hands twice a week, but as of late, since she's getting frustrated, I've been let down by her in the past. For example, just before baby was born, first grandchild for her, she told me she was taking leave to help me out as much as possible. She does temp work, so in other words she wasn't taking on any more work. She kept saying how she lives 5 minutes away, and she'd be there ASAP etc. Amazing. Once baby was born, she was barely anywhere to be seen. I'd have to ask her to come over when I needed help, especially when husband went back to work. She loves 5 minutes away but would always take her an hour to come over, after I asked her to come. Then she'd come over and hold baby and let me do things. I was recovering from a C-section, so found it hard to do things like cook, laundry etc. I just really needed to rest and recover, sleep etc. But it seemed she was itching to go. Usually when she wanted to leave, she'd say, "Anyway, I've got to go." And I would ask, genuinely, what she had to get to, basically errands. But would never offer to get things for me from the shops etc. I basically did everything myself: cooking, cleaning, laundry, baby. This was hard on my body. But I just had to do what I had to do because I didn't have any help. I confronted her many months later about what was bothering me. Her responses would be interchanging between these. Because you have a husband and I don't want to interfere with his bond with baby. My mother helped me when you children were born, and your father took advantage of that and I deeply regret doing that to her. You never invited us over. We, her and my sisters, were waiting for your invite. We didn't want to intrude, we were being polite. So that's basically just some high-level background so you have context. The other day, she picked up my baby around 10:30 and dropped her back here by 4. I usually ask questions about how baby went, nappy changes, feeds etc. normal questions. This time I asked how many nappy changes. Mum replied, 4. I was relieved to hear this because baby is prone to nappy rash. Later on, I checked the bag that had the nappies. All of them were still there. So I was confused as to how Mum thought she did 4 nappy changes. So I call her and say, "Mum, you didn't change her at all, Mum. I don't know, I changed her twice, me. But all the nappies are there. Mum, look, I'm trying to water the garden and go to the shops. What you see is what you get. Exclamation mark quote. Me, okay. Bye. Then later that night I started fuming because I should be able to get a straight answer when it comes to my child. Here I feel I wasn't right. I decided to call her. She didn't answer, so I called twice more. She hastily answers, "What do you want?" "I'm at the shops," I said. "Stop speaking to me so poorly. I'm allowed to ask questions about my baby. You are never babysitting again." And then I hang up. Am I the asshole for telling her off? Edit. Nappy was very heavy, wet. Edit. My mother always insisted I ask for help because I am not that way inclined. I never ask for help. So when I did, she seemed so frustrated. She insisted taking my baby 2 days a week. It took a lot for me to hand her over to someone else's care. This was not me being entitled. She insisted that she take her 2 days a week. I accepted the help and only ever showed appreciation and gratitude. I offered her dinners, food, etc. even when I had not had time to eat myself. I am not once to ask or be entitled to someone's help. At the end of the day, I just want a grandmother for my baby. You should have gotten the message a long time ago that for whatever reason she was not as keen to take care of a baby as she had thought she would be. If you have to chase her down, she doesn't want to be there. And someone who doesn't want to be there who lies about how she's taking care of your baby is not someone you want caring for your baby. You don't have a right to your mother's help, and she's passive-aggressively not giving it to you anyway. Back off asking for it or expecting it. Things might change in the future, but let her come to you. Not the asshole your mother repeatedly offers her help, she even insists and then neglects your baby and lies about doing so. What is her motivation for offering help in the first place? Not the asshole yet. Your mom sounds like she wants to be an upstanding grandmother, so she talks a big game, but she really doesn't want to be bothered with watching a baby all day. That's her choice, I guess. It's a bummer, but it's better if she doesn't interact with the baby if she's not gonna be a 100% dedicated. She will be desperate for their company when they are old enough to not have to watch constantly, but by then they'll be over hanging out with their grandma. What you don't want is your baby alone with anyone who resents you. Your mom does not want to help, don't expect this of her. Doesn't matter what she said. Actions speak louder than words. Everyone sucks here. Your mom isn't as into watching the baby as she thought she would be, and that is her right. Ultimately, the only people who are obligated to care for the child are you and your husband. Unfortunately, there's no pat on the back for doing your duty as a parent. If she truly didn't change baby's diaper for 6 hours, you don't mention if the rash was irritated or how full the diaper was. Then that's not cool and you shouldn't get her to keep the baby anymore. She clearly doesn't want to anyway. Not the asshole looks like your mother is more concerned being at the shops than looking after your baby. Not the asshole. She sounds like she wants to be remembered as helpful but not want to help. And never changing a baby after so many hours? That's just wrong. Don't let her babysit again, and in the future don't let her have supervised visits until you know your children can tell you what happened at her house. My mill promised so much help when I had my twins, hardly any if it eventuated. Turns out she is a good time grandma and only wants to be around the grandkids long enough to get a picture for Facebook and criticize my choices. My twins are 2.5 and it is only in the last couple of months that I have come to terms with it. My mill will only look after my twins if they are asleep or for an hour between facial and massage appointments. Not the asshole. Sometime relationships have to come to a head so they can evolve. Well done on reaching out for help. Raising children is hard, it does take a village. Western culture is the only one that abandons a mother once a baby is born. We are meant to be surrounded by older mothers to help. Am I the asshole for assuming my mom, 40 female, would give me, 18 female, rides to and from school on her days off? I'm gonna start off with a bit of context. The school year is over for me. I have not yet graduated, but I have completed finals and finished all of my classes. I am, however, a part of a musical my school is doing, so I have had a commitment to go to school every day for the past week. I live with my mom, but my dad has not lived with us for the past year. I don't like asking him for rides to places because I get very anxious when he drives. He's reckless on the freeway and often texts and drives. And I currently do not have a very good relationship with him. I do not have a driver's license because I am terrified of driving, and mine and my mom's schedules are so incompatible that it's been hard to get driving lessons with her. This past week, I've been asking friends at school for a ride to and from, But I feel bad for asking them for favors and I feel like I am getting in the way of what they are doing. Because of this, on my mom's days off I was hoping she could give me rides to and from school. On my mom's first day off, I asked her to drive me to and from school, which I thought was pretty reasonable except that she pointed out it was a lot of gas and quite expensive. The school is 20 minutes away from where I live and I admit I overlooked this detail when asking her for a ride. She was upset that I did not ask my dad for a ride to school because she says he needs to help out with us more and she can't be the only parent doing stuff for us. She ended up driving me to school and I got a ride back home with someone else. I also found rides with a friend for the rest of the time I'm going to be at school so my mom doesn't have to drive me. When I told her this and told her the rides were with a friend, she was upset that I didn't ask my dad. My mom has been having a rough time at work this past week and she has expressed to me that she is feeling very overwhelmed with things lately. Every time she brings up the rides to school, she mentions things that my sister and I often forget to do around the house and has told me that she feels we're being ungrateful and that I am not putting myself into her shoes. As much as I am trying to understand my mom's side of things, I can't help but feel she's taking out her frustration with her work troubles and relationship with my dad on my sister and I edit. I'm seeing a lot of, "do your chores op," and I see now that I've worded my statement unclearly. I have chores that are expected of me every day, cleaning up my messes, doing the dishes, general cleaning around the house, etc., and I do those every day. The things I often forget to do are usually small things my mom asks me to do. For example, the other day she asked me to clean the blender, but I saw she was using it as a tofu press and I didn't think it was ready to be cleaned yet so I left it alone and later forgot about it. She says it's frustrating when I forget to do these small things because she then goes to do it and ends up cleaning everything else around her which takes up all of her time. So I promise I get my chores done, I just often forget to do favors she asks of me and I'm trying to be less forgetful. Edit 2. Thank you for everyone who has given some input. I think that asshole or not, my mom deserves an apology. I am also working on getting over my fear of driving and hope to have a license by the end of June. And from now on, I'm going to try and be better at communication and I'm going to try and be less forgetful about the favors my mom asks of me. Thanks again. You're 18 years old. Your mom has told you she is feeling overwhelmed. Listen to her. You're an adult. You can schedule your own driving lessons elsewhere with a company. Your mom is human too and you're at the point where she doesn't have to drop everything for you. You are the asshole. You just assumed your mom would taxi you wherever you needed to go on her day off like she's got nothing better to do. She brings up what you haven't done around the house because she apparently feels you aren't contributing. She's not taking out other frustration out on you when she has legitimate complaints about what you fail to do. You are 18, an adult now. You are more than capable of scheduling your own driving lessons and learning how to drive. You are the asshole, both for assuming, and for not helping more around the house, it sounds like. If you know your mom is having such a hard time right now, why wouldn't you do what you could to make things easier on her, like contributing to the household upkeep, which you really should be doing anyway. Also, you're an adult who signed up for an extracurricular activity, you should be responsible for arranging your own rides. Sounds like your mom has enough on her plate. YTA. You're 18-year-old. You can't expect your mom to be your personal taxi, that is not her job. Either get a job so you can pay for Uber, buy a bike, or start learning how to drive. Yes, it can be scary, but you can't expect people to drive you around for the rest of your life. Gentle, you are the asshole. I see that you're only 18. Part of being a responsible adult is doing the open, direct, honest, respectful communication thing. You just assumed your mom was free that day cause she wasn't working. Work on communication moving forward. Ungentle, you are the asshole. Do your chores around the house. It sounds to me like the frustration that your mom is taking out on you is that you frequently forget to do things around the house. Do your chores without being told. Do extra if you can. It also sounds that she is frustrated that you assume she would take over an hour, 40 minutes round trip, 2 per day, out of her day to do you a favor without clearing it with her first. Next time, line up your rides before you make a commitment. In general, if you're going to ask someone, even your mother, to do you a favor, be sure you're fulfilling your commitments to them, your chores. You are the asshole. YTA. You assumed and didn't ask. Sounds like you expect her to do what you want, but aren't fulfilling your obligation at home. Info. Have you told your mom why you don't like driving with your dad? This sounds like a piece of the puzzle she is missing here.